Hello, everybody. This is Fun Police, and it's been a little while since I've made any videos, but especially videos on cards. But 1939 Games has given me a handful of cards to reveal for the upcoming Naval Warfare expansion. This video is just gonna cover them, and I'll give my thoughts on what they add, and maybe talk about a couple other cards as well. The three new cards I have on offer today are going to be related to the new Navy subtype that will be on a variety of cards. Similar to the Shermans, Commandos, and T-34s from the last expansion, Navy will be applied to a variety of cards. And we don't have the exact details on it yet, but I can at least say that some of the new cards I have will have that type on it, and will otherwise care about it. Without further ado, though, let me start by showing off the first of the new cards, the 22nd Marines. This is a U.S. standard infantry. It costs 3, operates for 1. It is a 3/4, and its text is Blitz and becomes veteran, and you draw a card when you play a Navy card. That means that when you flip this veteran, you're going to draw a card automatically. The veteran side of 22nd Marines is a 4/4, meaning it gets +1 attack compared to the base version, and its text changes. It now says, deals double damage if there is a Navy card on top of your deck, meaning that if there is, you will have an 8/4 for 3 credits. I think it's fair to say that 22nd Marines will probably be a pretty common sight in most US Navy decks, filling important gaps both in terms of having stuff to do in the early to mid-game, but also solving a bit of the card draw issue, as Navy so far looks to have a lot of orders and looks to have some sort of critical mass of Navy, both to enable stuff like 22nd Marines or the previously revealed USS Archerfish. 22nd Marines also just is good as a potential threat. If it goes unanswered and you have ways to make the top card of your deck Navy, like the recently revealed Beta Psalm in Italy, 22nd Marines is an 8/4 that is going to dome people. And you can even potentially buff it and get crazy high damage. Now, it will be fun to see the clips of people OTKing with 22nd Marines, but I think just looking at it from the state of a 3-drop that is able to trade multiple times on the board and draw a card, it's running at a pretty good rate. Stuff like 77th Regiment has shown that a 3/4 with Blitz that is able to essentially 2-for-1 at least is pretty powerful. And although 22nd Marines might be a little bit more expensive to flip to veterans, since most Navy cards are costing seemingly at least 2 to 3 credits, it still provides a nice set of value and is probably going to be an important tool for said Navy decks, as it just gives you a body to use on the board, while still being able to effectively draw you cards and making sure you don't run out of gas too quickly. Going on to our next card, this one actually directly ties into the 22nd Marines, as it directly names the card on itself. That is going to be the Semper Fi. Semper Fi is a 1-cost US order. It is a special, and it reads, convert 4 of the top 8 cards of your deck into 22nd Marines. Give them the Navy type. Now, convert is one of the new mechanics of the Naval Warfare expansion as well, and convert essentially means that it's going to take 4 cards and permanently change them into 22nd Marines. There is no way to undo converting, and there are cards that do synergize with a convert effect. Germany recently had the Bergmann Battalion reveal, which will draw you a card when you convert cards. However, the main thing is really that this is a interesting card because it gives you a lot of 22nd Marines that enable each other, meaning in theory you can play multiple of the Marines back to back, each one vetting the previously played one and building a board without losing you any cards in hand. However, there is that price of converting some of the cards in your deck. It presents an interesting wrinkle to the card because you can't just slam this into something like a ramp deck that often has a lot of high value cards. If you're hitting something like US Research or B-17 bombers or a variety of other options, Semper Fi might actually hurt you long term because 3/4s like 22nd Marines aren't ultra strong in the late game, at least compared to what you may be losing. So that does ask the question of where exactly would you want to play this? How does this influence the Navy deck overall? Is it a card that is worth using? In a mid-range deck, converting your top part of your deck into a bunch of 3/4 blitzes that will draw a card and potentially become 8/4s is potentially quite strong. And it does also work with a variety of revealed cards that care about the Navy stuff. Stuff like the 2nd Marine Division in Germany gives you the ability to burn the enemy for the first Navy card you play each turn, meaning your Marines are able to come down, trade on the board, and still trigger the 2nd Marine, which overall gives it some interesting implications. Is there some sort of mid-range deck that is brewing with this, and will Semper Fi be worth giving up various cards? It is potentially quite powerful, but it also is not a super consistent card. You can't reliably use it to stack your deck with Navy on top to where you can 100% know. So it remains to be seen, is Semper Fi enough to push you into a more tempo mid-range option by giving you all those bodies? Or will you run more of a control package that wants to run a lot of high-value cards and use stuff like Blockade and just the regular 22nd Marines to try to play a bit more of a slow, attritional-based game plan? Regardless of how that all shakes out, I do have one more card for you, and we're actually switching nations. We've shown 2 US cards this time, so instead, let's shift over to Japan. The Japanese card I have for you today is the IJN Mccura. This is a 1-cost Japanese order. It is a standard, and it reads, Pin target unit. At the end of turn, draw a IJN Mccura from your deck. I will also note that IJN Mccura is a Navy card, meaning it will trigger the previously talked about 22nd Marines and a variety of other ones as well. IJN Mccura overall, though, looks to be very, very good. We have seen in the past that 1K draw a card is fairly playable as long as it does something. Bloody Sickle is probably the one that jumps to everybody's minds, but For Freedom is another pretty ubiquitous option. Mccura, I think, definitely has enough going on with just the pin effect to be worth including. There is a bit of a caveat with the end of turn draw, meaning you don't get the draw right away, which might hamper that a little bit, but the recently returning 32nd Infantry Regiment has shown being able to just draw more copies of your low-cost cards out of your deck, even at a slower pace, can be useful. This will probably be a pretty common sight in any slower Japanese deck. Whether that deck is trying to use the Navy synergy side of it with stuff like 22nd Marines or 2nd Marine Division from Germany, or if you're going to just lean on a full-on control deck where you're just using this as a way to thin your deck while pinning stuff. I think there's a strong argument that either one will see success one way or the other. Overall, I am quite excited for the upcoming Naval Warfare expansion. There's been a lot of cards that have been revealed, and at the time this video is going up, we have just a few days left and a lot of cards left to be revealed. So make sure to keep an eye out for those. Make sure to also like and subscribe, as I plan on doing at least a couple videos related to the new expansion. I'm going to be trying out the new Navy decks. I'm going to be trying out stuff like the German discard, among other things. Let me know down in the comments what you have found interesting so far, whether that is a new card or one of the balance changes, such as the reworked Yamato that was only revealed yesterday. Overall, it looks to be a pretty big shakeup, as a lot of the stuff looks to be very, very strong. Kards is likely to undergo quite the meta shift, with new decks returning like US Frontline, which might even become something like a US Air Frontline with the new Brewster archetype. But who knows? We'll all see in just a couple days. So if you've watched this video, again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good day.